What part of you needs to be stripped away so that you can become stronger? What must die in order for your true power to be fully lived? This is the question of the fall equinox in 2025. The sun has moved to 0 degrees of Libra, and for one fleeting moment, day and night are held in balance. But this year, the Libra Ingress does not arrive softly. It comes right after a solar eclipse in Virgo, opposing Saturn in Pisces, a cosmic event that humbles us, strips us down, and reminds us of how small we are when we are faced with greater forces than ourselves. Forces like time, greater systems of government, corporations, structures so massive we cannot hope to control them. And here we stand at the doorway of autumn, being asked to face the truth. What is falling away? What is no longer yours to cling to? What must be shed if you are to step forward into the darker half of this year? The story that belongs to this equinox is not a soft one. It is about balance as confrontation, and no myth perfectly encapsulates this as the myth of Innana. Innana was the queen of heaven and earth, the goddess in Sumerian myth. Dressed in all her regalia, she chose to descend to the underworld, and at the first gate, she was stripped of her crown. At the second gate, her beads taken from her. Gate after gate, she lost piece by piece her power and identity, until she stood naked before her sister, Ereshkigal. And there, Innana was judged. She was struck down, and she was hung on a hook, lifeless. And yet, her story does not end there. She was revived and rose again from the underworld, changed, tempered, and infinitely more powerful than she was before. In our heavens, this is Mars in Scorpio squaring Pluto in Aquarius. This is that solar eclipse opposing Saturn. And this is what astrology asks of us now. What are you so afraid of losing? What identity do you still cling to that actually needs to be stripped away so your true essence can be seen, so your truth can rise? Like Innana, you may feel humiliated, you may feel powerless, you may feel exposed. But the question is, will you trust that this stripping away is not your ending, but your initiation? The leaves don't fall because they want to, they fall because they must. What about you? What of your leaves have already gone brittle, already turned brown, but you're still trying to tape them to your branches? This is not the season for bargaining. You cannot bribe Saturn. You cannot negotiate with Pluto. The gods do not take excuses. So, I ask you directly, what mask are you still wearing that no longer serves you? What brittle leaves are you afraid to release? What would it feel like to let it drop and trust that your roots are strong enough? If Innana teaches us surrender, then Brigid teaches us the craft. In Irish tradition, Brigid is more than a goddess of healing, more than a goddess of poetry. She is Brigid at the forge, the smith, the one who tends the flame, the one who transforms the raw, heavy iron through fire into steel, into something useful, something beautiful, and something enduring. Venus stands in Virgo during this equinox, our season's ruler, and she is a Brigid of the forge, of the craft. She is not in her romantic and soft indulgent place. She is the goddess with soot on her hands, the craftswoman who knows the holy work of precision. Venus in Virgo asks us, what in your life must be purified? What in your life must be cut away? What must be burned in the forge so that the purest metal of your soul can shine through? Think of your habits, your relationships, your systems, your projects. Which ones of them clutter and which one is your iron waiting to be forged into your future. Brigid's hammer falls, and Venus sharpens the edge. But are you willing to refine? Are you willing to let the fire burn away what is false, so what remains may actually serve you? Here is the truth. If you cling to what is breaking, you will enter this winter weak. But if you allow yourself to be stripped like Innana, if you allow yourself to be forged beneath Brigid's hammer, then you can enter this winter with a heart unburdened, your tools sharpened, and your spirit stronger than ever before. Because this is the Equinox truth. You do not have to repeat the old winter. The eclipse is not a punishment. Mars and Pluto are not a curse or a villain. Venus in Virgo is not merely a criticism. All of these transits are invitations to step into a new story. And the payoff is this. You can change the pattern. You can choose not to carry that same heaviness into this season. You can decide right here, right now, to shed so that you may rise stronger than before. And after the stripping, after the hammering, the forging, comes the weighing. The Egyptian goddess Ma'at held a single feather. When a soul died, that soul was weighed against that single feather. And if the heart was heavy with lies, with fear, with greed or illusion, then that soul was devoured. Only a heart made light by truth could pass on. This is Libra's role at the equinox, to weigh us, to ask us, what is weighing us down? What illusions have made your heart heavy? What truth would make you light enough to rise? This eclipse may have whispered that you don't matter, that you are unseen, that nobody cares. But Ma'at holds out her feather and she asks, is that really true? Or is that just the shadow that you're carrying? The scales do not lie, and you cannot lie to yourself forever. So, here we are. Innana shows us that the descent and humiliation are not endings, but they are gateways to resurrection. Brigid reminds us that fire and pressure are holy. They are what forge our true tools. And Ma'at teaches us that truth is the only thing light enough that allows our heart to rise. And the planets echo them all, as Mars plunges into Scorpio, as Pluto transforms Aquarius, as Venus refines in Virgo, and as Uranus sparks the beginnings of revolution in Gemini. This equinox is not here to soothe you. It is here to initiate you. The leaves fall. The scales are weighed. The forge burns. So the only question is this: what part of you are you willing to let fall away so your truest self can finally emerge? Because the old winter doesn't have to be your story anymore. This time, you can rise different, stronger, more confident, more powerful than ever. So may you manifest a life of divine purpose and glory, for you are worthy and you are free. Blessed equinox to you.